Good morning, students. Today we'll begin with a new topic. It's a novel, Tess of the Double by Thomas Hardy. But before beginning with the text and its critical analysis, I'll just give you a brief introduction of Thomas Hardy. And yes, prior to that, I want to tell you one more thing. I want that all of you should start reading the text of the novel so that when we study the story in brief and discuss all the aspects of this novel, you'll be able to understand it well. Okay? And so for now, I was telling you about Thomas Hardy. Thomas Hardy was a famous Victorian novelist, short story writer, and a poet. He was born in Dorchester, England on 2nd June 1840. He owed much to his parents and also to the rural background of his birthplace. As a child, he often spends his time wandering alone in the countryside, admiring nature. He inherited from his father love for music and from his mother a love of reading. So, in this way, nature, literature, and music, the three best components made Hardy a writer, a sensitive writer. He started his schooling from his village school. He was a voracious reader. He loved reading books and had read various Greek, Latin, and French classics. In 1856, he was made an apprentice to John Hicks. He was a renowned architect in Dorchester. Hardy was good in his work and as an architect, but literature was his passion. He loves reading books and he has also started writing some verses. In 1857, he began writing poetry and essays. In the year 1862, Hardy left for England to work with architect Arthur Blomfield. And there in London, he immersed himself in the city's vibrant literary and cultural atmosphere. He went to various art galleries and music concerts. He also attended theatre and indulged in writing poetry and prose. In 1867, 5 years later, when he was living in London, 5 years later, due to loneliness, which also leads to his ill health, he returned to his hometown Dorset and finally decided to dedicate himself to work of writing. In 1870, Hardy came in contact with George Meredith. He was also a famous novelist of Victorian period, and he advised him to write a novel. Consequently, Hardy wrote a novel which was published in 1871, and the title of that novel was Desperate Remedies. Next year in 1872, another novel, Under the Greenwood Tree, got published, and again in 1873, A Pair of Blue Eyes, a very famous novel, got published. The year 1874 marked a change in his life when he married Emma Lavinia Gifford. But there was lack of compatibility between the two, and due to this discord in his marital life, He was unhappy. And this had an impact on his work also. But then Emma died in 1912. It was a setback for him, and he felt the loss of his first love very deeply. This again is reflected in his works. Then the sense of loneliness compelled him to marry again, and after 2 years, in 1914, he married his secretary, Florence Emily Dugdale. She was 39 years his junior, very young. But this marriage leads to a peaceful and orderly domestic life. In spite of his old age, he continued writing and produced some of his finest works during this period. In December 1927, Hardy became ill and he breathed his last at his home, Maxgate, in Dorchester on 11th January 1928. Due to his love for his native place, that is Wessex, the region which he loves a lot, and also because of his love for his two wives, his heart was buried in his parish churchyard, whereas his ashes were buried in Westminster Abbey. So students, this is a short biography of Thomas Hardy, the last of the great Victorians, a great novelist, short story writer, and a poet. Students, that's all for today. And in our next class, we'll talk about Thomas Hardy's literary life. Till then, thank you.